Hi, my name is Sally Wood for Be Inspired, and today I'm going to be showing you how to recover a rocking chair or any other chair that has arms that are exposed either at the back or at the front. And I think this chair has been in storage for many years, so it's very dusty, hence me wearing old gear today. So let's get on with it. Now, initially looking at it, the back of the chair, I am worried that something has happened here. The back here and the back here seem to be of two different levels. So as I remove the back, we will find out. The other reason for starting on the back is there is going to be quite a bit of junk in there that is going to fall down. I'm going to just peel this off and see what has happened. Yeah, you see, that's what I was fearing. Remove the back, the next part to come off, the inside back. And some of these tacks are holding quite firmly. Ugh, I can taste the dust in my mouth, it's horrible. Remove all tacks. So get everything out, and then you can repair anything that needs to be repaired. Having worked my way all the way around, I'm going to carefully peel this back, and there's a few problems with it. One, there's only one support strap here, which has caused everything to collapse on itself. And the second problem I have, this piece has got has split off, and I will let my friend know that I have a little bit more to do with her chair than initially thought. Always be upfront with people this day and age, no excuse not to take photos and send them to your customer or friends, whoever you're doing the work for. Now, because it's quite movable, I'm able to squeeze, and I use Gorilla Glue all the way down. Be a little bit generous, so the glue is in place. Kind of spread it around as much as you can, and then I'm going to just pull it back so that this dowel here, which is in the back there, fits back into its slot. There we go. Alrighty. Right, this isn't the best clamp to use, but it's going to be perfect for the job for now. So I'm going to pop that on and squeeze it tight until the glue starts coming out. If it's in the center, it should be pretty good. Now I'm going to be putting some screws in, and what you need to do in order not to split the wood is make sure that the drill bit you're using is the same width as the screw you're using. Very, very important. Now I'm just going to put a drill hole in between the bar here and another one up here. I'm just going to pop this one in here like this. That should hold that. I'm going to just move this clamp right to the end, pull that in while I look for another screw. Now, because this piece of wood kind of twists, I'm actually going to put another drill hole in the center on up. So I'm going to screw this one in first, the last one. So that one's in. And that should hold that repair in place for a long time to come. While the back is setting up and the glue is drying, I'm going to take the inside back out. As you can see, just ripped through. It really can't do another job. And I'm just coming up to the last piece, which is this webbing. I'll take that out because it really wasn't doing its job. I've already gone round, checked that there's no tacks left in there. I know I've shown you webbing before, but it's always good for new people to see how it's done. I would show you again. Always good to be reminded. I'm going to center that. If it's slightly off center, I'm not going to worry. And I'm just going to put a line of staples across here. Fold that over. On the top end, I'm going to use my web stretcher and I'm going to poke the tines through the web like this. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. If it's off center, don't worry too much. So here we go. Let's try again. And now I'm going to just pull it as hard as I can over the edge of the chair. Sounds like a drum. And then, oops, I'm going to move it more centered. Then I'm going to pop it in again, just like I did at the bottom, a line of staples. Once that's done, I'm going to just allow a little bit extra webbing so that I can fold that over as well. Pop it down and then staple across. Now you do that so that the web will not fray and pull out. And then do the same either side. And center the next piece in between the side of the chair and the webbing you've already put in, and it makes it more even. So I'm actually going to pull it against the side of the table because that will make it a little bit easier. And you can do that, you don't have to hold it against the chair, as long as you've got something firm to hold it on, that will work. And then I'm going to just pull down, make sure that it is evenly spaced at the top, tight as a drum again. As long as they're all relatively even. So you see I've put the staples in that side, and now I'm going to see how well I can get the staples in this second side. I'm not going to pull it as tight, oops-a-daisy, because I don't really want it going out of shape, and I think that's about even there and there. Maybe not, it'll do. And again, just the outside of center. And again, I'm going to go on the outside. Now usually you weave it top and bottom alternately, but because of the shape of the back of this chair, I'm going to do it this way. And this one isn't going to be anywhere near as tight as the top one either. Just the outside of center. And it runs level with the bottom of the arm of the chair. And here again, I can't pull it in too tight, partly because of where it is and partly because I don't want to pull the bottoms of these out. So I'll just put a little bit of tension like that. You hear it. And then again, the staple's just outside of center. There we go. Nice and easy, but it will hold anybody leaning on the back there without doing any damage. This is some old curtain lining fabric that I've got, and I am just going to staple this into place. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just going to be holding whatever filler I put in behind here from going through the holes underneath. Just a little bit of tension, but nothing too much. And I'm going to just do it across the bottom here like this. And then just cut. You don't have to go in the shape of it, just a little, you know, as long as you've got enough fabric here to staple into place, that's all that's necessary. I'm going to just turn that over. And the other side. And this I'm actually pulling just slightly. So I'm going to just lay this on here so the edges match up there. I'll move it back a little bit here. And I'm literally just going to draw around like this along the side, and then under here it should be on the level there, on here. Now I have shown you this before, so all I'm going to do is use my electric knife, and I'm just going to carve down in one line. Now this is going to be a little bit more awkward because it's shaped, so I'm just going to come a little bit higher. There's that part done. And now the bottom part's a little bit more awkward because I'm going towards the end, but anyway, I'm going to come in straight and then change the angle. Now the trick is try to keep this knife as straight as possible. Now just like on a chair seat, I'm going to measure across and mark my halfway marks, which are, so that's 9 1/16 there, 9 1/16 there. Because this is a shaped back here, I'm not going to be able to measure straight across very easily. So what I'm going to do, and I've removed a little bit of the seat covering there, I'm going to measure down to the top where this comes in, and it is on this side 5 1/8. Make sure that's the same on this side too, and it's not, it's 5 1/4. So I'm going to make it 5 1/4, and I will mark this off, and then I know that my measurements are equal, and it's only a little bit off actually, it's not anything major. I'm going to just put a spot there to remind me. Now these are so old, I can just pull it out, and at my center mark I'm going to measure down 5 1/4. So that's there, it's kind of hidden, but that's my dissection here. So I know that if I move to the center here, this is a bit awkward, it's 3/4 of an inch. So this is 18 1/4. So I'm going to put my 3/4 mark here, so it's over the top. 18 1/4 is 9 1/8. So I'm going to just pop that there. I'm going to do the same on the other side where this comes down. My 1 1/4 goes there, and I'm just going to go to 9 1/4 here. So in effect, if I draw a line from here to here, it's a straight line, and there's my dissection here. I'm going to show you how to center the bee. First of all, I'm going to fold over from here to here, that's the widest point. Just line that up, put your finger on it if necessary, and line it up to the outside edge of there, and then fold on over. Now in this case it's actually pretty much halfway through the width of the fabric. Sometimes there might be a wider selvage on one side than the other, so always take that into consideration and double check. And as usual, what I tell you to do is to put your halfway mark there and your halfway mark at the bottom, like that. Now the bottom of the legs and the antennae are a slightly different problem. I'm going to put a pin along the outside edge of the antenna like that, and another long one on the other side going on out. And then on the legs, I'm going to go from the leg, bottom of the leg in, again from the inside leg on through, and then I'm going to turn it up and line my pins up, because those aren't going to change. So my pin is there, my other pin is, oops daisy, there, level, and then I can pull it across and see where it is on here. And actually on this one it's level too, so I didn't really need to do it, but always, oh yeah I did, always check your patterns. Just because you've got stripes going doesn't mean to say that it's going to be even. And the same there, mark your centres on both sides. And there we have our bee centred, and we'll use these marks on the chair to make sure that it lines up and looks pretty neat. Theoretically it's a bit high because of the way I had to mark it, but I think that's going to look perfect once everything's pulled. So if I work along the top back first, I'm going to just pull it up a little bit more and round, and hopefully all this puckering will go. I put it into place. So I'm going to remove that first staple I put in. So any staples that I can't pull out, I'm just going to have to. This fabric comes over, the Dacron comes over. It also pushes some of the foam over, which is quite good. And I'm just going to pop that down. First I'm going to check the front. Now something I noticed about this weave, it pulls apart, which is not a good sign. That's going to be awkward. So when I put the trim on, I'll have to be very careful. Now here again, I'm going to just pull from the center out, but I'm going to do it slowly because I want it to follow the shape of the back of the chair. So I think that's that one. I'm going to do it the other way as well. Sometimes when you look at these a second time, you realize they weren't quite in the right place. So I'm going to take this one out. Okay, so I'm actually going to have to pull this one up slightly, but as I pull that round, that mark should be exactly on there. I'm going to pop that one back in. Okay, having readjusted this so it's level, I'm just going to bring the fabric round so that selvage is in line with the side of this, inside of this rail here. I'm going to pull it in and up, not too hard round, and there's the next one. And I'm going to stop at the base of this rail because when I'm pulling in the back it's going to be coming on round a little bit more, so I might actually have to take it out. And now do the same on the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the fabric this way as I put it in. But before I start doing that, I'm going to take some of this bulk out on this side. It's still going to come over the edge of the chair. But because the chair shape goes down and round, I need to pull this chair back, and I'm going to smooth it because I don't want it to be rippled at the top. I just want it to slowly follow the chair top. So I'm going to pull that in here, and I'm going to secure it here. And I'm going to work my way back here, which might mean I have to take this staple out. So I'm going to just push that back there, hold it with my fingers, again, hold it with my fingers, and I'm a good inch down from the ridge here because I'm going to be putting a trim on. I'm going to actually cut like you would in dressmaking, because that's going to ease the fabric slightly, go in a little bit smooth. So I'm going to just pull that in, and you'll see that this opens up then. Just with my fingers, hold it in position. And it's just above there. And then again here, put another one. And I'm looking at the front here, just so that I can see that it's a nice even flow to the fabric. Now, before I do anything else, I'm just going to trim back here just a little bit, and then I'm not putting so much into this corner. Now the corner, I'm going to have to fold into place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this further over. Now you see it comes up here and then it bends in. So I've got a nice shape going on here. I might have to move this one, I'll think about that in a minute. And I'm just going to pop this here. Now the other thing I'm going to do is take some of this bulk out of here. Like that. It's nice and smushed up, so nice and easy to get to. Now, here is the corner of the back of the chair. So I'm just going to fold, make a little tuck here. I need to make sure I tack this down, and then I'm going to pull this back down again, so I've got another fold going on. Then I'm going to make that into a fold over the top of the chair. Just use your fingers, don't pull it too hard. You might have to release some of it if you're not careful. And when the fold comes in, it's on the corner here, but it kind of twists in slightly because we're going to put trim up and around to hide all of that. And here is our little pleat on the top corner, nice and tight. If you wanted to, you could actually sew that shut, but I'm going to leave it. I'll probably pull that little piece back as I'm tightening everything up in a minute. So now I'll do the same on the other side. But I'm going to take this center one out for now, so that I can adjust the arms. So a lot of these are just used for holding and maneuvering. Having just released this, I'm pulling the fabric, not the stuffing, through. I'm just going to fold it up there for now. Now to work in around the arms. So I'm just going to trim back a little bit on here so that it will fit either side of the arm, and pull right back into it. Now this is a little bit more forgiving than the fabric. If I get the fabric wrong, then I've made a big mess. It looks like I can actually pull back that a little bit. So there we go. I'll do the same on the other side. But in the meantime, okay, having pulled this down, I'm going to put a pin across the top of the arm. I'm not going to cut the arm, I'm just going to put the pin in there. That is where I'm going to want to fold the fabric, and I'm going to work out how deep the arm is and put a pin on the other side and cut very carefully in between the two. This is where things go wrong. Okay, so my pin I've popped here, and actually on the back of here there's actually lines that I can follow. You don't often have that luxury, so I'm going to measure anyway, and it's just shy of an inch. So from there to there, it's just shy of an inch. So I can cut midway down this line, and that should go either side of the arm of the chair. Just be careful when you do this and don't cut too far, because you're easing it. And you cut halfway because you're going to fold it top and bottom so that you can have a good clear definition. And I can cut along where the weave is. So there's that one. I really don't like doing these arms because they always go in awkwardly. Anyway, I am going to put another tack here just to hold that, and that's above where I'll be folding it. And I'm going to cut off a piece of fabric in a minute, and I'll show you what I do along the back here. So on this side, I'll trim a little bit more. When I'm nearly there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up and round so it all fits in. And see, I'll be able to pull that in quite nicely. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side of the chair. Now before I go back and re-secure all of the back, I'm just going to pop this up and pull it a little bit tighter. And you'll see again that I'm just lining it up to my center mark here. This might come in a little bit tighter later as I ease everything into place. Just like I did on the seat corners here of the chair, I need to fit this in behind the post here. So again, I'm going to come in at an angle here, but that will just pop under there and pull through. You see it goes nice and tight. And then with this, I'm just going to cut straight across. A little bit low so that I can fold the fabric around it. If I need to, I can fold it up like that. And I'll do the same on the other side. And I'm just going to do the same with the top layer. Now what I do is I put my thumb where I want to cut to, because it's a little bit hidden. So there's my cut to mark, but I'm going to come in at an angle and I just go towards where I want it. I don't go too close, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work it in so it's nice and tight. At the moment I'm still a little ways away from it. Just put my finger there, cut a little bit closer, because here again what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold one side under and one side under to go around that post. And actually, as I've pulled it out and got closer, I've realized that I'm going in a slightly more acute angle than I was, but that might also be to do with the way this chair needs to be pulled in. So I'm going to start pulling and stapling it so that when I get really close I've got a better idea. It's just enough so that I can actually pull the fabric underneath. Now this is when it's advisable to use a mirror. It makes life a lot easier. And unfortunately, because it's a rocking chair, I'm going to have to keep tilting it forward. But as I pull, I can see how the fabric is going to be coming in at the bottom. And you're seeing what I'm seeing at the moment. So I'm going to change so you can actually look at what I'm doing rather than be confused. So I'm just going to pull from here out. Everything's going to be pulling out. And pull that up and I can see what I'm doing here. I might have to infill a little bit better, but that will come in a minute when I can really see what I'm doing. Now I'm just going to pull again from here out for the next one. Hopefully I'm not going to wriggle it too much for you so you don't see it very clearly. And again, I'm just going to pull out and to the side. I've just infilled and it looks a little bit smoother. And again, I'm going to come out towards this chair post and work that in. Pull it down, out and up. Now I've stopped about 2 inches in from the end, as you can see here. And this is when I'm going to start working everything else in. Now originally I had cut the lining at a 45-degree angle in, which is still working. I'm going to fold that up and pull that round and fold this under just a little bit. And then this side here also needs to be cut at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to hold my fabric, put my finger where I want to be cutting to, and I'm going to cut in from the corner, the outside corner, just like I did on the seats. So I'm cutting from the corner at a 45-degree angle to the inside of that post for the back. And when I've got it, I'm going to fold both back like this underneath and see if I can pop those in where they need to go. And I've still got a little bit more cutting to do. Take your time on this, because if you get this wrong, it's wrong forever. So just fold both of them back on themselves. No, I'm still going, still got a ways to go. And you'll find as you're pulling it in, it does wriggle. This one's a little bit more awkward to do than the standard seat. Partly because you can't see where you're cutting blind. Ease it in, because it is slightly visible from the front, but not terribly. Okay, so I've still got about half an inch to go. I'm going to trim off a little bit of the tail, and I'll show you on the other side the back view. So don't worry, I'm showing you the front view this side, then I'll show you the back view. So I'm going to pull that round underneath there and up, and then I'm going to fold that up under and pull that round, and it's almost there. Check what it's going to look at the side of the chair, because you kind of need that to look flat. Now there's another little artsy piece that you can do, and that means cutting it like 3 pieces like that, and then it folds really close in. I'll see if I can work that out as well. Gets to a point where you're literally cutting maybe 2 or 3 pieces of thread in the fabric. I'm going to fold that underneath the stuffing, so the stuffing will hold it out, and I'm thinking there is just where I want it to be. And as I come round to the side, see all this extra fabric? I'm just going to fold all of that under like that, pull it round to the back like this. And I can put a little bit more stuffings from the inside through if I want to just fill that out. Now, when you're doing this, you really want to make sure that the threads are following through at the bottom here, because you're going to be altering everything. So what I'm going to do now is put a holding staple. This will come out as I work the back in. Here's my center mark. Now I'm going to show you the back view of here. I'm just going to trim some of this back, not too much. I'm leaving this tail because that will just fold underneath and give a little bit more bulk. And all I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull this under, and as I said before, I'm pulling it out all the time so that it's smoother on the front. So here's the first point. I'm going to push the fabric underneath with my fingers and pull it back at this angle. I'm going to check that it looks even, and I'm just going to staple that like that. And then I'm just going to pull this little piece up and infill. And then I'm just going to repeat it out and up. A good thing to look out for is if it starts looking like it's being pinched, it might be. And a sign that you can release it later. So what will happen is if this one still looks pinched when these are brought in, then all I'll do is I'll release this one, let it drop down, and then re-pin it so it stays in place. Just smooths lines out towards the back and up like this, and just infill. I'm getting to this corner, so I'm going to have to cut this so that I can fold that side underneath like I did on the other side of this chair when I showed you from the front, and the same with that. So just little nicks right onto the inside. This is the inside of the post, that's the outside, but on the front corner here is where I'm aiming for. And you'll just see my fingers coming through every now and again, I'm sure. So there's my corner, here's my little snippets until I'm right there. And now I'm just going to double check it. So I pull the fabric out, trim back some of this tail to the outside of the leg, like that, so there's not so much bulk going in. And I'm going to fold both sides at the same time. You just got to make sure it's not baggy underneath. So I need to take a little bit more out. This is time consuming, but it's worth doing. It might take 2 or 3 times to get it where it needs to be. And so just fold that underneath like that. Fold the front underneath the same and pull it in. And if it looks smooth from the front, you're doing well. I think that looks even. I think I've got all of those ratty tails in. Make sure you've got all of these hidden underneath. And I think I took it at a slight angle because I want it to be smooth there. So I pulled it up like that and secured it like that. And again, just infill. Again on the side, using your warp and weft threads, just make sure that's even and comes around to the back and secure for now. These are going to come out, but I just need to hold it in place. Okay, now is the tricky part, the piece I don't really like doing. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the fabric round and pop it, without cutting too much more, into the side of the arm here. And I want it to look relatively smooth down on this side. Now, using my finger as the marker, I'm going to cut this line on through. It looks like I've got to actually cut down slightly, so I'm going to try to do it as straight as I can. Now I'm almost where I want to be. Now the trick here is 3 cuts going like that, so that it goes round the arm of the chair. So I'm going to cut down maybe 1/4 of an inch and across in the middle, which gives you that fan effect. And then I'm going to just roll all of this underneath like that and pull it into the chair. And it looks like I have to pull the top of this side down a little bit, which is fine. That sometimes happens. Pop that there. Hopefully it's where it needs to be on the other side. And then I'm going to just fold this under here and pull it in. Now this also could take 2 or 3 efforts to get in, because I need this to come round this corner and be even back here. So let's do that. And pull it right round and down. And as I say, there's a couple of threads there I don't want to show. And if I have to, I'll just lower this like maybe 1/8 of an inch all the way down. With a bit of luck, that won't need to happen. So now I've got to do is work out the front and the bottom here, which will alter how this goes in. I might have to pull it in again. I'm going to cut some of this wad out, just a little bit up to the inside of the arm. And here again, I'm going to just fold all of that down into there and pull it back. And now I need to cut a little bit more out from under here. Just a little ways more. So just do a little bit at a time, because if you get this part wrong, you really have messed up. Remember to fold that all the way underneath, like that, and pull it back as far as you can. This sometimes takes a very long time to get back into place. Just make sure that the lines here go level with the bottom of the arm, and you pull it back. I think I need a little bit more out of there. There, I think that's smooth. The warp or weft threads have to follow under here because it's a static line. And let's pull all of that so it's nice and neat and tight. These again are probably going to come out shortly because I won't like where they are. I'm going to pop that in there. And I'm going to just pull this down here and round so that this fabric is in line with the inside of the post. And as I come down, I'm going to have to alter this line and probably underneath here. You want to put the bottom in first so that everything else follows. And I might have to pull these out in a minute and rework this, but I'll have a look. So I'm pulling down and around. Okay, so I've just taken this off. Okay, I'm taking my staple out of the back here for that corner and the one next to it as well, because I need to alter the bottom again, pull it further in. Having reworked the back and cutting it in tighter, I'm going to just pull this in. As I say, keep the weft or the warp threads level and really pull it in tight so it's level with the highest point of the curve, which you can see at the back easier than the front, and secure. And then just pull on round, securing as you go. Now I'm going to undo these ones here in a minute and just rework here. So you go up and down these chairs. This really needs to be put on first before you start pulling everything in. So here's a little piece of fabric that I'm just going to pop here so it hides this piece of wood. And all I'm going to do is use a piece of back tacking like this, which I'm going to put hard up against there. I'm going to have to cut that down because it's too wide. So I'm going to just cut my strip a little bit. I am going to put that in here so it hides that. And I'm just going to staple it there and there, like that. I'm going to fold it like that and staple right there with that. I will trim it top and bottom so it's not quite so bulky, like that. And then all this does is it comes round like that to the back. Now the reason for pulling this out is because it really needs to be trimmed back maybe another 1/4 of an inch, which I'm going to do here so that it comes in tighter. And again, I'm just going to fold all of that up and under like that and pull it back, and I'll push all of that down and under, pull that back, and it should I'm still not 100% happy with it. So I'm going to pull it in at the bottom. I think that's where I want it. So I'm going to refold that underneath to hide there. You need it coming in along the weft and the warp, or the warp threads, whichever it is. If this takes an afternoon to do, take the afternoon. Don't rush this part of the job, because it does make a big difference. And I'm thinking that might need to be pulled down, but I'll see. And the key really is to keep all of those threads up so they don't come out. That might be as good as I can get it to get, which I'm not 100% happy with. I might come back and try this again later. Pull that in. Make sure it is tight. If it's not tight, it's going to unravel. I think I'm happy with that. I think that will work. And now I'll do the other side. I'm just going to show you how to cut the piping cord. I know I've shown you before, but it's always worth showing you again. I cut it at 2 inches when I'm going to be putting it around furniture, because you need a nice little tab for it to be stapled into. And I'm lucky here I have at least something to look along. So I'm just going to cut to the bottom of these diamonds, and that should give me 2 inches all the way along, or as close to. It doesn't have to be exact. I'll cut the second piece. I've got 2 pieces of piping fabric here, and in order to get them to be sewn together, you need to put them at right angles, and you're going to sew from this corner to this corner, because if you put your fingers like that and open it, it will be straight. I have, under stress, done it the other way, and that's all you've got to work with. Nothing. So as I say, just work from the top corner here to here. I don't have to worry about the selvages, so I'll pop that under there. I've just put it on a 2.4, and I'm just going to sew straight across. Trim the threads and trim across to about 1/4 of an inch. That'll be fine, like that. And then it just opens out and you've got a continual look. I'm changing to a piping foot, which looks like this, and if I put that against there, you'll see that there's a groove there, which I'm going to put the piping through. Pop it like that in the center, and then just roll the fabric either side like that. Slide the piping through the groove on the piping foot, Lengthen the stitch to 5, or the longest you can do it, and then sew. If you don't have a piping foot, a zipper foot will do. Just make sure you're as close as you can to your piping. My join is here. You can't really see it, so I could actually put the join at the top, but I always like the joins at the side. So what I'm going to do is put the finger where the join is, and then kind of work way to the back, and it can start here. So I'm actually going to start pinning this on here, and I'm going to put the edge of the piping to the edge of the chair. So I'm only going to put some holding ones in like this, as straight as you can manage it actually. When you come around the corner, just take scissors and cut, just a little cut, just like you would on dressmaking or anything else, and make sure that this is level with the wood underneath. It takes a little bit of practice sometimes to get it exactly where you want it. So as you can see, it's more or less level with here. Here it's a little bit off, so I'm going to push that up just a wee bit because it comes up and round. Then I'm going to just bring this up around here. The fabric doesn't need to be clipped, but I'm going to clip it anyway. Just gives a little bit of freedom of movement. Just helps the piping bend better. Around the top, just make sure it's level with the top. Remember, put a couple of clips in. Make your clip into the corner. Just going to pull this down to this corner here, which I'm also going to do on the other side. I figured this might show you easier. So I've just cut in slightly here, and I'm going to come in across the bottom of the fabric. I'm actually going to put my cross one in first, like that. And then I'm going to bend it so it follows the line of the fabric, or just underneath the line on that one. Now I've just clipped here so it can bend up and down, and then it should follow the base of this back of the chair, which curves down. So keep it on the edge of the wood. Now I'm just going to undo those stitches and pull out about an inch of the piping and cut. Pop this one in like that. And I'm going to fold the fabric up like this, and there's a reason for it. So now I'm going to come down on this side and do exactly what I've done on the other side, which is to cut in. Okay, this is an aluminium back tacking. It's got teeth on this side and holes on the other. In Spanish they call it grapa. This sharp edge runs along the sewing line of your piping. Just push it up as far as you can, and what I do is I put a staple across each one. The back tacking will follow the line, so you've got a little bit more control over where it's going to go. Make your way across carefully, because it will cut into your skin and it's not very forgiving. If some of the staples don't go in properly, just go back and take them out when you're ready. When you get close to the end, judge where your last one is going to go and just cut straight across. Try not to use your best scissors because it does ruin it. And you just, as I say, it's aluminium, so you just cut like that. Seeing as this is such a small chair, I'm going to use the same thing on here. Here's the back end of that, and I'm just going to pop this along the back side of it. Sometimes you can follow all the way around if it's a wide enough curve. If not, you're going to have to do it this way. And here again, just put a staple in each one. Doesn't always go where you want it to go. And because I want it in a straight line, I'm going to just put a few holding ones and then ease it in. And then I'll straighten it out when I'm ready. When you've got both sides in, then just start working across the bottom. That's the last piece to go in. A few of these I'm going to have to take out and put back in, but as long as most of them are secure, you should be fine. When you think you've got it in properly, just start pushing the teeth up towards the piping. Don't close it completely, because you're going to have to force the fabric through. But if you do this, it's a lot easier to pull the fabric in when it's wide open, and the reason is it starts stretching the fabric too much. Nobody's ever shown me how to do this properly, so I've had to figure it out on my own. As I say, it's less than 1/4 of an inch out from the piping all the way round. Having got all of these folded down, some of them are a little bit closer than others, but that's okay. I'm going to now put the inside back on. I'm just going to bring it up to the top of the metal frame here and to the outside of the side frame. And you just need to put a couple of staples in. It doesn't have to be perfect, because the outside back will hold everything in place. And the same here, kind of find with your fingers where it is. And then carefully with your scissors, I'm just cutting it back to just inside the pipe's edge. If I've gone funky, I'm not going to worry about it. It's all going to be hidden. Just like this. And then just up the side. Oops. And come on the side. Yeah, there we go. Careful not to cut the aluminium. Now you can see the piping on the outside, and that's how I want it to be. Now I'm going to use a double-ended needle, but you could use a regulator or anything else. I'm going to pull that a little bit further up because I don't like to have too much fabric under there. Pop the fabric underneath like this, just to start off. Now with my hammer, I'm just going to lightly tap it down into place, not fully. Then I'm going to come up here to the top and push that in even harder. And then pulling out slightly, I can see where the fabric goes, and I'm just going to pop this in like this. You know, where there's a little bit more fabric, I will trim that back just a little bit, not too much, because I want as much fabric under there as I can get. Just going to trim that back a little bit, just give it a little bit of shape. With my needle, I'm going to pull it out to the side here and push all that fabric underneath, and just make it as smooth as you can. You should be, with a bit of luck, able to tuck all of that extra fabric underneath if it's a thin fabric, which this one is. With my hammer, I'm going to just lightly bash that into place to the corner. Now I'm not going to go right into the corner yet, because I'm going to come up on this end, reposition it here so it's nice and tight, and then I'm going to pull it out here to get the top back in. And again I'm going to pull out and just start pushing the fabric in under those teeth. Sometimes I can't find the teeth straight off. Once I've got an idea of where everything is, I'm going to very carefully cut back again. Now there's my fold. It's come out, but it'll be fine. And this line actually looks like it might have moved, but not too much. So here I go. Pop that under there too. Now if I need to, I can come back and lift this up, but I'm thinking that might go in perfectly well. Just pull it from the center out. Very carefully tap that into place. Now I really want to be pulling on the other side before I finish up here, because that might alter. I'm going to pull away from the top to the bottom, what's now is the bottom, and I'm just going to ease some of the fabric down behind the teeth. so I can see where I'm going to be cutting. And I'm literally going to just cut a straight line, which gives it a little bit more fabric than I need, but that's okay. And again, I'm going to pull it to the side, pop that down behind there like I did at the top end. It's better if you can work it when it's tight. It gives a better finish. So I'm going to just pop that all in there. Careful not to dig in the needle into anything you don't want to be digging it into. And then come to the top end and lightly tap into place. Cut all the way up the outside edge, being a little bit generous. There's the edge of the chair, and there's my cutting. And here's the top. And so I'm going to have to pull in at the bottom there by the looks of it. Just take your time. Push it in. The idea is the teeth hold onto it and it should stay in place. So here we go. And because it's all four sides, it's a little bit more prone to needing to be adjusted, and it does. I need to pull it the other way, which I will sort out in a minute. The same goes for the sides. I'm not going to pull very much. Just going to pop that under here using the needle. Anything fine will do. You don't have to. If you don't have one of these, don't worry too much. There we go, and then I will pull it the other way, just making it a little bit taut. This should come out. I'll do that in a sec. Now for the corners, this is the awkward part. So the corner here, I'm going to take round the side first on this particular one, like that. So it folds up, so it's in at the side, like that, and then I'm going to fold it under, like at a 45-degree angle, and then pop it under this first one here. And hopefully it will go in flat without too much of a wrinkle, and it's got a little wrinkle. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. I can work that in a minute. Make sure there's no threads. Don't show threads. Now I'm just going to ease these up. I'm going to use my tack remover and just pull them out just a wee bit, not by very much, because I don't want to ruin the look. And I did think I might have to do this. So, and if you want to unhook any of the teeth, just push down and out, and they'll unhook. So I'm just gonna refit this in because it wasn't quite where I wanted it. That's the thing, when you do things upside down, it doesn't necessarily go where you want. Just gonna retap that down into place and work towards this corner here. And there's a little bit extra fabric, but I'm actually going to use that. I'm going to pull that into the corner so I can show you how to go refit it. Just make sure those threads are in. If you've got a thick fabric, you can't double it very easily, but just make sure you've got plenty in there. Just work them in. For this corner here, I'll show you again. What I'm going to do is pull it out, fold that under, and then tuck it into this side. It should, with a bit of luck, go in rather nicely. A bit of luck. It doesn't always happen according to plan. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video on how to do exposed arms on a chair and the metal back tacking on the back of the chair. I will obviously be showing you how to do that again at some point. Please remember to subscribe, hit the bell button if you want to see more from me, and also give me a few thumbs up so that I know how I'm doing. Take care, see you later. Ciao! I'm just going to drill a pilot hole down here and put a screw in to help hold it.